Recent blizzards in Nepal claimed the lives of over 40 people, including hikers and guides. I'm joined in studio by two extraordinary people who were actually stuck in those snowstorms, and they're here to tell us their story. Rosie, Luke, thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure to be here.
So let's start at the beginning. Luke, what made you guys choose Nepal as a destination?
We've been running courses there with students from Stellenbosch University for the last 2 years, which are a lot tamer than the expedition we then attempted afterwards. But there'd been a section of Nepal which was extremely remote, which we've been very curious in exploring for a long time. And this was the chance we chose to explore that, yeah.
So before the snowstorm hit, what was the trip like?
It was actually extremely remote. I'd never hiked anything like that before. So we'd spent about a week and a half and we hadn't seen anyone in about a week of that time whilst we were hiking. So one of the most remote parts of the world and one of the most remote parts I'd ever been to as well.
But of course there was a morning where you woke up and suddenly the landscape before you was covered in snow, or how did it happen?
So I think we'd woken up at about 2 a.m. that morning to the sound of a little bit of snow, and we'd had very little snow up to that point, actually less than we'd expected. And we were quite, it was nice to have a bit of snow. We were like, oh great, but we should probably, and then when we woke up at kind of 6 o'clock that morning after more snow, we realized it'd been snowing quite heavily, and we should probably start kind of getting a move on, because we were in quite a steep valley and we realized we shouldn't be, if the storm continued, we should be out of there. So it was just okay. But we weren't particularly worried at that point.
Did you get to a point where you started to be concerned?
About 3 hours later, when first the snow was coming down straight, and we had already put our sort of snow gear on, our crampons to grip in the snow and our gaiters to stop it from getting in our boots. But by about 3 hours, the snow had come from here, from our shins up to our knees, and now it was blowing in sideways. So that was when I started to get worried.
Yeah, that's when we realized the storm was just intensifying, and we'd had a kind of goal point which we'd intended to reach that day, which we figured would be a safe place to be at. And we realized just how slowly we were going. We were kind of traveling at a quarter of the speed at least, or if not less, than we thought we were going. And that's when I really started to become concerned, when I realized how slowly we were moving and how quickly the snow was getting thicker.
So what did you do? Did you reach that goal point in time?
No, we did. That was one of the hardest days, that first day, being hit by the blizzard. We're coming in sort of sideways and literally snow covering what was a complete bare landscape, to suddenly being snow up to your knees and not being able to stop anywhere. So we went for like 7 hours that day, couldn't even sit down for lunch, and we're extremely cold and hungry and still not knowing, when was the snow going to stop and where we were going to get to. So.
And Rosie, I was doing most of the navigation, we had quite a good map with us, fortunately, and Rosie kept asking me, there was a point at a river we were trying to reach, and Rosie kept asking me, have we reached it, or have we missed it, because we'd been expecting to get there in about kind of 3 hours, and we'd been going for 7 hours, walking really hard, and we hadn't even come close to it yet. So she was kind of starting, have we missed the turnoff? Should we start thinking about turning back? And I was like, no, we haven't, and that's when we really started becoming a bit worried, yeah.